Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Anyway, folks, what is happening in the Middle East? Before we get started, I want to kind of open on a little short soliloquy on that. But anyway, Eric Hayes is in the house from Kingwood, Atascocita. Paul Fleming is in the house from what is it? Powder Point, Georgia. No, it's not Powder Point. What is it again? Oh, Powder Springs, Florida. What am I saying? Florida, Powder Springs, Georgia. All right. Lee Grant is in the house from Montgomery County. Michael Rudden in the house from, let's see, what else are we got here? We have from Montgomery County, we got British MCP from upstate New York in Binghamton, New York, and we have the one and only La Preciosa Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Yvette, I hope you're doing fine. I hope that you didn't inhale any of that chlorine gas from that plant that was burning a few miles away from you. AVQ from Brooklyn, New York. How you doing, my dear brother? And who else is here? Okay. So, folks, if I'm doing the debate today, do you want me to do the debate tonight again like I did the last time? If you guys tell me to do it, you know I'm going to do it. So you tell me. If you vote yes, I will do the debate tonight as well. All right, folks. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I am extraordinarily what is that word again? Postmustally. After the fact. I am upset with Brother Biden because again. He looks weak. Netanyahu, and I know he may be doing it for several reasons, doesn't want to take the pressure from AIPAC if he goes ahead and he says too much about Netanyahu. If he drops the ball and call Netanyahu's bluff in the UN. We just have an inordinate fear of Israel. We don't want to lose Israel as the only part to affect I'm not going to use that negative word in the Middle East because, again, in as much as Israel thinks we are its puppet, the reality is we want Israel there because of Israel is like a renegade American state in the Middle East. That's just the reality. The reality is Israel is a mini America in the middle of the Middle East. Okay, that's it. There are no two other ways about it. And people look at Israel killing 42,000 people and also doing all these bad things, right? To protect themselves, to keep themselves in power. Posthumously, thank you very much, Lee. Who told me that? Posthumously? I think that was Bridge who told me that. Thank you, Bridge. Look, let's plant our feet and understand what's going on here. There's nothing that Israel has done in Gaza, in Lebanon, in the West Bank that America hasn't done around in our hemisphere. From Mexico all the way, well, not Mexico specifically, but from the Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. Okay? There's nothing that Israel has done that we haven't done. In other words, take stuff by force and use overwhelming power irrespective of the innocent civilians to attain our own goal. So Israel is, in effect, little American government and I hate using American government because we the people are the government, but we the plutocracy are the ones who forever have been executing the kinds of things that Israel is doing when we did it in Chile or when we did it in Panama or when we did it in Cuba or when we did it in the Haiti and when we did it in Dominican Republic, or when we did it in Panama. So then how do you when you have a volatile guy like Netanyahu, right? and an American president that's going through an election, etc., how do you mitigate that? You actually look pretty damn weak. And that's how the United States look right now next to Israel. Pretty damn weak. And for all of those who said, well, if Donald Trump was in power, Donald Trump would do what it takes. No, Donald Trump would suck on Netanyahu's tits just like Biden has. You know how we know that? Because that's what Donald Trump did. He moved the capital against all UN expectations, against all UN rules, to Jerusalem. No longer in Tel Aviv. He moved the embassy to, not the capital, embassy, to Jerusalem. So he did exactly what all American presidents do, but he did it even to the nth degree. Because again, he moved the embassy. That is a physical thing. So anybody that's out there that's thinking, well, look how you're talking about Biden as being weak, that's going to make it seem like Donald Trump would be stronger. No, Donald Trump would be weaker. Donald Trump is a guy who thinks that, the president of North Korea loves him, that Putin is his friend. So don't mistake me criticizing American policy in Israel as to say that somehow Donald Trump would be a stronger candidate. He would not be stronger at all. Donald Trump would simply appease Netanyahu, and Netanyahu would have him eaten out of his hand by stroking him. Hey, Donald, how you doing? Come on, Bill. Get your guys to build a hotel on the banks of the Euphrates, Iraq, on the banks of the Jordan River or something. Okay? But what we are doing, however, when we do crazy things in Central America, the character of Central Americans and South Americans and the Caribbean, because I think it's because of religion and Christianity and that sort of stuff, it's very different from the extremists. We call them extremists, but what we should call them is from the devout people who want their own territory across the ocean. There's different. It's very different. And we are going to pay the price. Not today, not tomorrow. Yeah, Iran threw some missiles over and then there's going to be some retributions here and there. But brothers and sisters, those, especially if you're flying with an American passport, we are going to pay the price. We are going to pay the price for that kind of slaughter. We always have. We always have. You know, we always talk about they hate us for our freedoms. They don't hate us for freedoms. They hate us for what we do. That's why they hate us. Not on freedom stuff. That's not what it's all about. They don't give a damn about us otherwise. But we do about them. So, folks, this election is going to be important. Yeah, we're going to have to get Kamala in there. And after we get Kamala in there, we're going to have to school her from the beginning, not wait till the next close to the next election. But she's going to have to be schooled on several things, both on the economy and on foreign politics that has to be different from the foreign politics of what America has practiced for centuries. Because it's a different world. It's a different world altogether. And it's something we have to come to grips with. It's something we have to come to grips with. Michael says, I've got a busy couple of days coming, basically a coin flip whether I miss tomorrow's show. Hope you don't miss it. Paul Fleming says the mobilization of Asian American voters is on full display in Georgia, where they make up critical piece of Kamala Harris's game plan against Donald Trump. And they did it actually for Wassoff and what's his name, the Reverend. What is this, man? What is my mind going? Warnoff is a Reverend, and Asaf. Warnoff and Asaf. Okay, let's see. Eric K says, I will cripple you dock workers until chief said of the economy before massive port strike, International Longshoremen's Association. Look, I am for the strike. Marcus Melitza said, Coase wrote a tweet today that said, why couldn't they wait till after the election? Well, because the contract is up, maybe. But you know what? I think that no matter what happens, if we come out strong for the workers on that striking from all the way from New York right down to Texas, if we come out strong with them, whether that strike lasts a week or a month, if it lasts a month, it's going to create havoc in the economy. But as long as we are teaching Americans that this is a fight that needs to be stood up for, and let there be some inflation, let there be some job losses, let there be that, we are standing together against the corporatocracy that's taking all the profits. Let's stand together with this strike. Now, here's a big problem, however. I don't know if I trust the leader of the ILA. I don't know if I trust him because he has been seen handshaking with Donald Trump, etc. So what they may be looking for is disruption with the expectation that that has an effect on the economy. What I am saying is we need to jump on the bandwagon of the worker and start talking about, hey, these workers make America go round. You know what I preach? I've preached it all of the times, that the guys who sit down in the executive offices do nothing. The people who are out there in the field, like our great Yvette Avery Herod, who's in that truck moving stuff, shouldn't have to be making 230 times less than her CEO. She is the one who makes UPS work. So I am with the strikers 100%. And this has nothing to do with the election. Nada. Niet. In fact, Kamala Harris needs to jump on the bandwagon of the ILA and say, you know what, man? I am with you guys. The longshoremen, I'm with you. I am with you. Stand up with the worker. Yes, get what's due you now. I am with the workers. And that's what they have to do, in my humble opinion. All right. Paul Pham says Trump and Netanyahu are best friends. Yes, they are. Let's make that clear. Second, if we stop giving Israel arms, it will give it to somewhere. It will get it from somewhere else. Our influence only goes as far as Netanyahu is taking advantage of the situation because he knows that this is an election year. Exactly. And that's the game Biden is playing. But it's a weak hand, and he does look weak. It does look like what Netanyahu has said several times in papers. I got banned for a week. I got banned from posting a week at Daily Kos because I guess the AIPAC got to them. And when I said that Netanyahu said he had Biden in his hand, not Biden in his hand, but pretty much the American president's in his hands, that was bad. That was, what did they tell me? The editor at Daily Kos. And by the way, I write for these guys, and I'm a friend of the owner. And they said, oh, that's not true. I even brought the paper, the newspaper from Haaretz, that actually had the message that says, we have him in the palm of our hands. Oh, that wasn't well sourced. Right. EgbertoWillies.com is rated highly factual. And it's not sourced? Come on, man. All right. Anyhow. So that is what Netanyahu believes. He owns the United States presidency. And by the way, Donald Trump proved it, right? Donald Trump got the entire embassy moved to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. So absolutely. Michael Radney says, as it comes to Israel-Palestine, Trump views Netanyahu as a fellow strongman and doesn't give a damn about some brown people over there. Trump would endorse the ethnic cleansing and genocide. As it comes to Russia, Ukraine, again, Trump views Putin as a fellow strongman. Trump would do whenever he sees fit to ensure Russia wins their war of aggression, even if it means separating ourselves from NATO and forcing Ukraine to surrender territory backwards on both. I can't disagree with that. Paul Fleming says in a letter, Senator Ron Wyden wrote that suburban Atlanta hospital violated federal law when it failed to provide abortion care to Amber Thurman. Legal experts agreed. It's not even a question. C-Sex Egberto, why don't we do what China does for their shipping? You praised China before. Maybe we should do what they do. What, are you talking about automation? I mean, that's what the longshoremen want more. Want less of automation because of people. Now, I think what we need to teach people is that automation is not a bad thing. What we need to teach is that if we're going to automate the workplace, that the people who earned the money, who allowed that workplace the ability to buy those robots, should be compensated at a higher rate or at the same rate for a lower amount of hours. It's that simple. But again, and the same thing goes for AI, right? Well, we'll talk about that another time. Paul Fleming says, Asheville's mayor just said, we had incredible help from the federal government and made it clear that President Biden's will be flying over to view the damage, but not into the airport because the motorcade would impede the few roadways currently open. This is how to lead. Exactly. I agree 100%. All right. Eric Hayes says, Harris hasn't done a thing to track record. Not good going forward. That is because you don't read, Mr. Hayes. If you read about all the things she did to recover $25 billion for the homeowners who were ripped off by the bankers, she beat the banks. If you want to learn something about how she put people in cartels that brought over fentanyl, etc., she took them to jail. So again, try reading, try learning. Bridge MCP says the labor dispute stems from the union's concerns over technology replacing human workers and demands for higher pay. USMX said Monday its latest offer would increase wages by nearly 50%, but that wasn't enough for the union, which hasn't released numbers suggesting it wants close to 60%. ILA President Harold Daggett has pushed for additional protection against automation last July, vowed to create an international coalition to prevent maritime ports from pursuing such technology. Now, here's the thing. Again, this is an old guy. Look at him. He's an old guy, good old boy network. Now, I have nothing against automation, but automation must be regulated so that we remember people. Okay? In other words, their salary should be not zoomed up, but their hours should be cut and they pay the same amount as you automate. That's how automation makes sense, because automation is a composite knowledge of all of us. The AI bots that are going to run those robots that are going to be clearing that ship, a lot of that learning is from having had longshoremen doing work for a long time. And the learning that we've gotten from how longshoremen work help develop the algorithm that these robots are going to use to move containers from the ship and pack them more efficiently. The idea that after you automate, you dump workers and they're left astray is the same problem I have with Appalachia, where the guys who dig for coal for ages and we're not going to use coal anymore and we hang them out to dry, when they were the ones who gave us the power to develop the computers and microprocessors and all of that. The power that these guys' labor created means we owe them something. But you see, capitalism doesn't think that way. And then we have those who don't understand the dangers of unfettered capitalism and continue to defend it, not realizing that eventually it'll take their own job. I could go directly to my brother here, Eric, who's a a kind of an accounting guy, AI could take your job tomorrow if you don't have those regulations that we know all these different technologies need. Use your head, people. Yesterday, Gerline Joseph, executive director of Haitian Bridge Alliance, amended her criminal charges against Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance to add counts for inducing panic under Ohio Revised Section 9. Oh, I need to go find her. I interviewed her. You guys saw the interview that I gave with her a couple days ago. All right, we have Michael Rudden says UK to finish with coal power after 142 years. The UK is about to stop producing any electricity from burning coal, ending its 142-year reliance on the fossil fuel. The country's last coal power station at Ratcliffe-on-Soar finishes operation on Monday after running since 1967. Good job. Robert Davenport II. I haven't seen you in a while, brother. Great to see you here. Greetings, progressives. Colin Allred for the U.S. Senate 2024, and he's up in the last poll by 1 point. Look, we are at that tipping point, and Netanyahu fails to realize that Americans don't vote on foreign policy, but they vote on somebody that they fear may actually cause an atomic bomb to drop on them. Okay, let's remember that. So it's time. Let me tell you, I did a rant that I did at KPFT that I cleaned up a bit. I want to play this one. It's about 14 minutes, and then I will be right back. I want to tell folks one thing, and I want you can look this up, etc. For some reason in America and actually around the world, we somehow praise, appreciate, revere people that have an extensive amount of wealth. We've been pre-programmed to believe if they have it, they probably deserve it. We never sit back and say things like it is a system that's designed to create wealth for just a few and make the others. And it sounds like cliche. And when you hear a lefty or a progressive like myself or Jack or Howard say things like that, yeah, there they go again. These people work for it. But the truth of the matter is they didn't. I'm going to mess with Howard a bit here. Howard doesn't make $1 million a year. Do you, Howard? You don't make $1 million a year, right?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay. Howard doesn't make $1 million a year. But we have a community radio station here. And for this radio station to work and get its signals over 100,000 watt transmitter, ensure that those people who stream our program on the internet from our kpft.org site gets that signal. For you to get that signal, right now I'm on YouTube. I'm doing all kinds of connections via Zoom, etc., to get the signal not only to the internet but to the airwaves on that 100,000 watt transmitter. We're doing a whole lot of stuff to get that to happen. All of that. One person right now gets all that kind of stuff done. We have Jack hasn't gotten his $1 million yet, I don't think. Jack Van Weber, the guy who is answering the phones and making sure that a lot of these things continue to work consistently. When Howard is out, Jack mans this stuff by himself and nobody knows what's going on. But in the background, a lot of stuff's happening to make you hear something you want to hear. That occurs also with that baker, that guy who's at that store that gets up every morning at 4:00 and bakes the bread that you get up in the morning and eat, that donut shop owner who goes ahead and makes all the donuts and, the things that make society work, These people are never going to see their $1 million, right? But you have a guy that decided to go to Wharton Business School and he took, he got an undergrad degree, the same undergrad degree that a lot of people get. And then he spent another 2 years at Wharton Business School. And there's one thing he learned. And what he learned was something called capitalism. And look, I believe in free enterprise. I want to tell you, I strongly believe in free enterprise. You form your donut shop, your grocery store, all that kind of stuff. But these guys learned something else. They learned how to let capital work for them. That's how they put it. How to let capital work for them. And it's an oxymoron. I mean, it makes no sense, right? If you put a stock out there or you put $1 out there and say, okay, dollar, work for me, nothing happens. That dollar still sits there. For that dollar to work, or what you call work, there has to be a body behind it. So here, you have that rich person says, and let's not even talk about how they got rich in the first place, but that rich person says, I am going to let my dollar work for me. I'm going to let my capital work for me. What that means is that somebody else is going to do the work, whether that's be me, that be Howard, that be Jack, that be the candlestick maker, that they do the work while somebody sits on their behind and wait to see how much of your excess work they can take from you. Look, I don't have a problem with profit. I love profit. You work and they get a little piece of the action because again, that is how money expands. That's how we get things. That's not a problem. But when you are predicated on making money solely from money, do you realize that the way our system works, the average worker goes out there and he does a day's work and he may make, let's say, $15 a month. And he may put, if he has a little excess savings in his passbook saving, and he'll make probably 1% if he's lucky or 2% if he's extra lucky. But if somebody has capital and stocks, they people who can afford that kind of investment, their money grow at 7, 8, 9, 10%. If you look at the stock market this year, some people double their money, that sort of thing. What I'm trying to say is that there is one economy that all of us share. All of us share in one economy. If you have most people getting just a salary and either falling behind or at best making 1% on any little bit they're able to save, but you have a group of folks who have to do no work of substance, and at the same time, their appreciation of their money grows at 7%, 8%, 10%, 20%. That pie, every year, they are taking a bigger piece of that pie. And every year, if they're taking a bigger piece, if a small amount of people are taking a bigger percentage of that pie every year, it keeps growing. That slice of that pie keeps growing because it's a closed economy. The world economy is a closed economy, not to speak of, let's say, the U.S. economy. Don't let anybody fool you. That's what it is, right? So therefore, you continuously get poorer. Why? Because there are more of you vying for a smaller amount of the pie. We have been saying that this is a default state of capitalism forever. We have been saying that forever. Now, there are ways to modify this, right? If you want to keep that model, you have to redistribute. You have to tax the excesses out back into the system and build roads, put people through school, create something called basic incomes, give healthcare. You have to take that money back from what I call unearned income and put it back into the system. Otherwise, the system collapses, because anybody who knows integration and derivatives realize that as the wealthy derives all of their income from the rest of us, we continue to get less. And eventually we see what we're seeing now. Families that used to be able to buy one home on one salary, then they used to be able to buy one home on two salaries. Then they had to double up with many of the kids living at home to help pay the mortgage. And when the kids leave, the people bring somebody else in, or families put in together for this. I mean, the masses continuously adjust to having less. That is where we are today. We are constantly adjusting our lives to live with those folks who continue to take their unfair share. That's what we do. We modify the cars that we drive. We modify how much we spend. We modify what cheeses we buy. We modify all these things because somebody is taking more of the share than they used to before. That is on your back. It is by definition how the economic system works. And again, I said, if you want to keep it, you have to drastically modify it to reclaim that money back to those who it was stolen from. I mean, if somebody was doing that in a grocery store, it would be called thievery. If somebody was doing it in a abarroteria, it would be called thievery. So we have to start, first of all, understanding that we are being robbed by a particular class who controls everything. One of the reasons the right, and to some extent the neoliberal left, doesn't believe in critical thinking and teaching critical thinking in high schools and so forth is because as you sit back and analyze that you do, as you sit back and realize, wait a minute, the people who are really making this economy work, this country function, are not the people who are making all the money. You know, we have Elon Musk, the richest person in the world. I think he still is. You know, you see, let me tell you what upsets me the most. I worked for NASA for a while, and I was a senior engineer at NASA for a while. And I remember, and I used to scream about this all of the times, right? I was a peon, and all the other seniors that worked with me, we were peons. And I always remembered the executive class of the corporate, because what most of the people who work for NASA, they are really working for subcontractors of NASA. So I worked for Penn Research Corporation, Boeing, Lockheed, all these different folks, right? And you watch the exec of these companies do little. All of us are doing the work. In my case, working on the apps project, the TIFA module on the space station. And you're working all these hours, and you know the big bosses come in and they do nothing. They're the ones that get the bonuses and the salaries, etc. From the government money. You know, they get it, right? We have Elon Musk, who everybody worshipped as being rich. Of course, his electric company, car company, wouldn't be there unless the government subsidies that he indirectly gets through the companies that make oil cars that burn fuel as an offset for him. Otherwise, he would not be rich. Good morning, Mark O'Connor, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain, and Alice Harrison Dreams from, I think, I forgot where he's from, somewhere here in North Houston. So as it turns out, folks, Elon Musk this weekend, I think it was this weekend, Friday or late last week, he shoots something up in the sky to send the module up. And then the module comes back and it opens its leg and it lands on its feet. And the mainstream media are going, hooray, look at what he has done and great and this. These are things that we have been doing for decades. We just didn't do it for the space shuttle because, well, it was efficient to just throw the stuff up into the sky and let it drop into the ocean. It was cheaper than spending the amount of time that another company wanted to say, we can go ahead and develop the retro rockets and the technology, the GPS technology to bring it and land it on the ground. But Russia's been doing it for a long time as well. They weren't landing in the ocean. They were landing just like that in the middle of the Sahara, Siberia, just like that's been done for a long time. But we see it because now it's on video from Elon Musk, and we see that rocket that put the module into orbit comes and lands on its 4 feet. And we go berserk. Look at what Elon Musk has done. Something that has been done for decades. But if we don't know that, we believe that this person has accomplished something great when he has done it all with your dollars, government dollars, and the intellect and technology of all of those people that were skimmed off of other companies that have already done this sort of stuff. Feedback control and all of that we've been doing for decades. We did it with CPUs that are less powerful than what's inside of your cell phone right now. You see, bringing back that rocket and landing on its 4, the technology required for that is less than the technology in your cell phone. But most people just see that stuff land like that and, oh my God, it is great. And then they're willing to give Elon Musk billions because they think he accomplished something. My brothers and my sisters, one of the reasons we do this, one of the reasons we want people informed is so that you're not taken in by these fallacies of look at what he has done. You have already paid for many other engineers that have accomplished this many times over. You see, every day you fly on thousands of airplanes. The technology in those thousands of airplanes that land many of them on their own is no different than the technology to land that spaceship on the ground. In fact, it has some benefits in that it's naturally stable when the retros are on, unlike an airplane who has to constantly move forward to build lift. But anyway, I'll digress for a minute to get to the calls. But before, I just want to say this rant was brought on by Jack and the wealthy. Folks, we have to create policies that return what was taken because of an economic system that is biased against the average person, biased against those who actually do the work.
We spend a...
Absolutely so. Absolutely so. Okay. Let's see here. Estimates of Israel's stockpile of nuclear weapons, 90 to 400. Yeah. You know what's interesting? But Iran can't get a nuclear weapon as a deterrence to Israel, right? You see what being a bully is all about? You know, it's not like they can use the nuclear weapon. Once they use that nuclear weapon, the world order has changed. So, I mean, anybody who attempts to use a nuclear weapon, the world order has changed. The United States proved that, right? They're the only country that has ever had the balls to murder people with a nuclear weapon. Think about that. Think about that. All right, let's continue. Let's see what we got here. Robert Davenport, thank you so kindly for that super chat. Love you, my brother. He says, please register and vote. Absolutely, folks. Right or left, let's agree to solve things through democracy and abide by the will of the people. Perfecto mundo, hermano mío. Eso es perfecto lo que has dicho. All right, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain is in the house with us. We have Michael Rudnin who says, labor produces all the wealth and always has until automation came around. Automation, though, remember, my dear brother Michael Rudnin, is a composite knowledge of us all. And as such, we should all benefit from that improved technology to make us work less, to let us enjoy nature and enjoy things. Now that we have robots doing the work, because we have extended our intellect, we have extended our power, muscle power, we have extended all of that. But society has to create an economic system commensurate with an infrastructure that is run largely on automation, robots, and artificial intelligence. You see? But remember, if you have a capitalist system where you have AI, automation with robotics, think about this. The capitalist system does not fit that model at all. Why? Because the way the capitalist system works is it says, greed, greed, greed. We can get this robot to replace 10 guys. You throw away the 10 guys. You don't care about anything about the 10 guys. This one person who invested in buying the technology that all of us built now owns it. And they take that and they multiply the amount of money that they earn, that they've stolen. Okay? Again, it's all about the economic system to fit society. When I talk to right-wingers and neoliberals on panels, and we talk, and the first thing they say is, but how will it affect business? The wrong question. The question is, how does it affect humanity? And then you build a business around it. So, Michael, brother Rudnin, when we get automation, AI, robotics is automation, right? But I mean, they're all different stages, right? At that point, your economic system must change, right? Because the model has changed. But that's not how capitalists think. It's about greed. And they talk about us being naturally greedy, and that's the way we produce stuff. No. We're not naturally greedy. If we were, greedy people would be dead. Elon Musk wouldn't be able to accumulate all that he's accumulated if everybody was greedy, because we wouldn't allow him to take stuff. We are greedy too, right? So we'll be going to Elon Musk to get that stuff. Don't be fooled by the narrative, people. Most people are good. They put a cancer in your mind to have you think that the way that they do it is the way to be. Brothers and sisters, please don't fall for it. Midas touch from Paul Fleming says 82 Republicans voted to shut down the government during hurricane season 21. Then are from Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. And look at what happened now, right? Those are the states that got hit hard. All right, Mike Cisak says SpaceX fined $140,000 for dumping drinking water on the ground, even though no harm. But Biden administration said there was no permit. Look, hey, don't buy that crap about, oh, they dumped drinking water. That's crap. It's probably water that was used as a coolant for the rockets. And more than likely, the reason that has to be regulated is because we don't know what the components of the different chemicals that are used are. So you don't throw it on the ground because it goes into your water table. Of course they should be fined. Come on, man. Let's continue. Let's see. Michael Ryan says, Paul, take a look at which were 82. It was probably alt-right Twitter faction. We don't care what happens if the government shuts down. And for that, preventing voter fraud that doesn't exist. Yep. All right, what else have we got here? Robert Davenport said, I missed the PDR posse, and we missed you, brother. You weren't here for a while, you know. Good people talking through their differences, hoping for the good of all of us all. This what makes America great. That is what makes America great, not what Trump is selling, but having Mike Cisak and Eric Hayes and what's his name, Ryan, and all these guys here. Yeah. You guys make America great when you're with us talking and not fighting. I'm talking about Lee Grant. I was calling Lee Grant Ryan. Why did I think Lee Grant was Ryan? Am I going cuckoo today? I guess I'm just too damn tired. All right, let's continue. Where did I leave off? Tim Walz, tonight, as a teacher, I've had to deal with a lot of unruly kids. And watch how it's done. I love that. Where did you find that one? Paul, did you make that up or you found that as a tweet? Okay, let's see what else we got here. E2247 says 807 natural persons are 0.00001% of the Earth population, and they have several $1 trillion of finance. The 99.99990 and a person do have. That's true. They will get a windfall if Project 2025 wins a battle to privatize NOAA. Yeah, they love this privatization thing, don't they? All right. Let's see what else we got here. John Amos died today. Yeah, a running back turned actor who appeared in scores of TV shows, including the groundbreaking 1970s program sitcom Good Times. Good times, da, 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 good times. I remember that. And the epic miniseries Roots has died at age 84. It just seems like a lot of folks are dying around now. Chris Christopherson just died as well. You know, then Dikembe Mutombo, 58 years old. He died. You know, the basketball player. I was so sad about that. All right. NOAA consists of 6 main national offices: Weather Service, Ocean Service, Oceanic and Atmospheric Research, Environmental Satellite Data Information Service. Yeah, I didn't know all the different parts that made it up. Thank you for that information. Robert Davenport II says, deport Elon Musk back to Canada or South Africa. Don't want him. Don't need him. I know. We don't. We could do just well without him. Bridge MCP says Mike C. and his lying news. The Justice Department filed a lawsuit against Alabama and its Secretary of State on Friday, arguing that an effort to remove voters from the state rolls was taking place too close to November 5th general election in violation of federal law. While states are allowed to clean up their voter registration ahead of an election, federal law says this must happen more than 90 days before an election. Oh, God. Why is it that, well, you know who informs him? Come on, brother, let's get better. Michael Egberto, I know it's not to the point that you were talking about originally, but automation is likely to replace half of all jobs in the next decade. And yes, our economic model will necessitate a shift towards universal dividend, or we're going to have widespread poverty alongside all our environmental problem leading to violent revolution. And, you know, we can say, you know, there are several ways of looking at that, right? We can call it universal distribution, meaning giving people money, or we can say reduce the work week from 40 hours a week to 20 hours a week. You get twice the amount of employees. There are a lot of different ways to mitigate it. We just have to mitigate it. E2247 says Project 2025 wants SpaceX, Musk, Mars, Caribbean cruise, all of them to have no regulators in government service. Think about that Caribbean cruise without regulations, right? You go in the middle of the ocean and you dump the sewage wherever you want to dump the sewage, and hey, who cares, right? Or you go ahead and you feed people substandard food. Hey, who cares, right? All right. Paul Fleming says, Adam Kinzinger, reminder in 2020, Iran fired ballistic missiles at American troops in Iraq. 110 were injured, which Trump called headaches. The Trump administration did not respond. I hope they have schooled Tim Walz on this. That I forgot about that, Paul. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that. Yeah, Pete Rose also died. You're right about that, Eric. Robert Davenport, nice one, Paul Fleming. Yeah, Paul, that was a real good one. I hope they schooled him on that. All right, let's see what else we got. Netanyahu and wife were in New York City dinner Friday night hosted by campaign donors William Simon Falek hours after killing Hezbollah leader Nasrallah. Yep. Didn't know that either. Anyway, folks, anybody want to give me a call? 2818. I don't have any more videos. 281-823-7747. Would love to hear from some of you. Give me a call. 281-823-7747. Give me a call. Let us have a chat. 281-823-7747. Let's see. Egberto, see you around 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central for the debate. I'll get it. You see, Mr. Rudnin, you see what he does to me? He makes me work very hard. Now I have to do the debate. Why? Because Brother Rudnin enjoyed it the last time. So, folks, be back at 8 o'clock when I will be doing the debate. Egberto, it was potable water, meaning it was the same as dumping rainwater. Potable water from where? From where? Please. It's a joke. All right. Anybody, come on, give me a call, folks. Give me a call. 281-823-7747. Or do you want me to end the show early? Give me a call. 281-823-7747. Mira, iba a comenzar. I tried to call. Try again. 281-823-7747. I'm pretty sure it's working. Give me a call. Let me see. Let's see. I'll try myself to see if it works. What is it? 281-823-7747. Let's see if that rings my thing here, or if I have a problem. Oh, it's working. There you go, Patrick. All right, Patrick, how you doing, my brother?
Hey, good afternoon. Good to speak with you. Hey, you brought up inheritance tax.
Yes.
2 days ago on your morning program.
Yes.
There is an inheritance tax, and I agree with some inheritance tax, but the current inheritance tax I don't agree with. It's called elder care.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is it's a tax that is pushed on to the middle class by the upper 1% because they've monetized elder care, and they've changed the model to the point where what it does is that it's a system that as efficiently as possible will empty the bank accounts of the seniors in our society.
I am so glad.
Or my parents.
Okay, go ahead. I was going to talk about that, but go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. My example is I have two parents. They saved and worked their whole life. My father worked into his 80s, and they did. We never went out to eat. Never did anything like that. and they stayed out of elder care as long as they could until they no longer could. A typical, just a baseline charge for the two of them every month is $11,000.
Yep.
And then they figure out how to put another $5,000 or $6,000 on top of that. My mom can't walk, and she has to pay $7.50 just to have food brought to her room twice a day. And it's a 50-foot walk by an individual that's paid $15 an hour.
Now, let me just say this, okay? Because when my mother-in-law died, before she died, she had a stroke, and the family was thinking about putting her into one of the nursing homes. And to be in that nursing home and have Medicaid take care of that would have meant that she would have had to be poor, poverty-stricken. So what they do is they drain. You're absolutely correct. You have to be drained of all accumulated assets that are in your name, right? And after that, the state would come in and give you the care. In other words, and this is what I try to explain to some of the people at our KPFT show, even if you make a lot of money, when you talk about how much elder care costs, right, which shouldn't cost what it costs, but I couldn't believe when I heard things like $8,000 a month, $11,000 a month, I was flabbergasted. If somebody have $1 million saved, you know how quickly they go through that $1 million for that kind of a fee, and they will say, well, you could have bought elder care insurance. Have you ever seen what that elder care insurance cost?
And you don't know if you'll ever use it.
But it's not only that you don't know if you ever use it. You don't even know if they're going to be around to pay it. Because the way corporations work is they may buy a pot. Let me tell you what Allstate is doing. Allstate already created another company to offload a lot of its life insurance. Think about that. Why would you create a company to offload some of your insurance? So that if something goes wrong, that independent corporation can go bankrupt. Remember, every company is a legal entity that stands alone. So when you break a company up and into two new legal entities, you're saying maybe that if that legal entity goes under, the flagship can still stay alive. Let me tell you, the stuff about elder care is so true. You have to be super poor to be able to, first of all, get subsistence support from the government. And I don't know if you've ever been to one of those nursing homes that are only based on what the government gives them for your support, meaning your Social Security and Medicaid. It's the nastiest place where they're underfunded, understaffed. Just take a look at what happened to those people with COVID in New York in nursing homes. It tells a story. Go ahead, Paul. Patrick.
Patrick, you're fine. It's just my point is, and you're agreeing 100%, is that the rich will cry about a small portion of money that the next generation doesn't get, that they didn't even earn, but the rich are stealing from the middle class while they're alive.
Yes,
and they're doing it. They're doing it with efficiency and cruelty that is mind-boggling. It's disturbing.
Yes. Let me tell you, we need your voice, because let me tell you why we need your voice. We have one of our brothers in the chat right now. I don't read half of what he puts out there because it's a lot of right-wing stuff from, crazy places. But this is out of his own mind. And he says the vast majority of Americans don't want the political left, which is only 8% of the population. Of course, we know that's false. You and I know that's false, Patrick, because if you and I don't tell anybody, we are lefties. And we tell them what the policies that we want to support. Most Americans are going to say yes. Right-wingers would call it liberal. But if we put it out, most Americans say that they want it. But he says 8% of Americans don't want us. The truth of the matter, we are some of the most wanted people there are. But anyway, anything else, Paul, before I close her up? Patrick, before I close her up.
What I like to remind people is if socialism is so fragile and it's so prompt to fail, why do capitalist governments have to go in to topple it?
Exactly. I mean, every time the capitalism fails, socialism saves it. Every single time. And you know what? Capitalism fails in cycle 2008, 2019, and we can go ahead 1930, 29, that is, 1954. I mean, we can just go on and on and on and on. But anyway, thank you so kindly, my brother, for calling in. All right.
Have a great day. Thank you for your time.
You too, brother. All right, folks. We are coming close to the end of we are at the end of the program. But before we close the program, I need to ask a favor. Please consider becoming a paid subscriber of our newsletter, which helps to fund what we do here. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. If you can become a sustainer for our newsletter, and again, I'm going to have some new gimmicks with the newsletter in the next few weeks. As it is right now, you get a chance to read all of my books. All of my books can be read directly online at Substack. All paid subscribers get that. So I ask you so kindly to continue. First of all, those who are subscribers of the newsletter, thank you so kindly. Those who can, if you can, please consider going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Anyway, folks, I've got to get out to here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.